G'day, welcome to the Joinery Business Podcast. A few years ago, we started a segment called Shop Talk, and we stopped doing that a little while ago, and we've decided to revive Shop Talk. So this is our first revived episode of Shop Talk for 2025. And so I thought what I'd do is I'd start out with sort of a light touch conversation, something that's going to be relevant to every woodworker, cabinet maker, joiner, shop fitter, staircase, windows, doors, cabinets, no matter what you do in the woodworking industry. This segment is going to be terribly relevant to you. And I'll just start out by saying a little bit of a preface to this. I realize that what I'm doing here in my little cabinet shop, my little woodworking shop at home, is very, very small compared to what you're probably doing in your business. But I thought I would just start out by just doing some examples of what I have in my shop and how that can relate to what you're doing in yours as well. So this segment of Shop Talk is called Show Us Your Jigs. And what I really wanted to talk about here is how important it is to take time out of production to actually create some sort of a jig or some sort of a device that could speed up production or make things easier or even more accurate and improve quality. Oftentimes I'll go into a cabinet shop or a joinery shop still today, and I will see people on a bench with a tape measure measuring out locations for hinge holes and those sorts of things with a tape measure and a pencil. When in actual fact, that thing that you're doing has probably been done multiple times, and we can make a simple jig or a device that would be accurate, and you could do it, the same way every single time, much more easily. I have scoured through many of my work benches and things like that, and I'll just preface this by saying I'm a long time off the tools, so most of my jigs are probably a little bit outdated, but they're still relevant to the conversation we're having here today. So what have I got here? I've got jigs. One of the most obvious ones, a little while ago here in the shop, I made a tall cabinet that we're storing everything in. And that needed to have some shelves in it. So obviously we needed a series of shelf holes drilled, multiple shelf holes. So I took some time and I just drilled some holes in a piece of white melamine. That did take some time, but it made the whole job that much easier. So it's a really good example of just spending some time making something. Now this jig, I could use multiple different ways. I could cut it for a smaller cabinet, but the spacing of the holes is going to be the same every time. And it's just a nice, simple way to drill a whole series of holes. I have a 5mm bit with a stop on the actual drill bit as well. So it's going to stop at a certain depth as well. Really simple jig. I'm sure most of you have done that sort of thing before. Another example of jigs is just the simple types of things that you can buy from suppliers. This is actually a Bloom tandem box jig. And I found over the years with the undermount runners, this has been a very, very handy device because it drills the hole in the back of the drawer very, very accurately and also locates the clip where it needs to go. Some things you might not actually realize are jigs or even just a simple square like this that can be set at a certain depth. And then you can run that along the edge with a pencil and draw a line. And they also have marking devices in them. So a lot of these things that you purchase, you might not realize some of the more extensive little devices they have within them. So when you buy these sorts of things, explore what they have going on. Squares, oftentimes you won't realize, but there's actually a pivot point in the corner of the square. Pivot! So that you can actually pivot this to spin it around. But you also notice there's notches on these sorts of things. So again, you can draw a line just by running along the edge of a board. Something else I wanted to just raise in Shop Talk is, even though it is not often thought of as a jig, it's a tool, and Amazon is your friend. You can just jump onto Amazon and purchase one of these. Digital calipers. These are absolutely invaluable because if you are running a CNC machine and you want to look at the depth of your drilling, these sorts of things, you can obviously zero them out, and then they will actually measure the depth by this little device here at the end by going into the depth that you're drilling, and will read out digitally here what the depth is. So when I was integrating CNC machines and training people on how to use those more advanced types of things, this was just a required element to have a really good quality digital caliper on hand. So if you haven't got a digital caliper in your toolbox, I highly recommend you jump onto Amazon and get one of these babies. $40-50 and you just absolutely can't go wrong. Another really good example of a jig is just a simple piece of material, thin material, cut to a certain size. A little while ago I was making a fit out for my 4-wheel drive, having internal drawers going into the back kitchen, and that was a spot where we actually located the drawer runners on the inside of the devices. So I just took a little bit of time and I made a piece of board that size. It was really easy to locate the drawers in the same place every single time. So jigs are really, really invaluable. Super, super valuable. And oftentimes I see people just not willing to take the time to stop and make one of them. Or when you're out and about, or even on Facebook Marketplace, you might find some of these things. Over the years, I've gathered a few of these devices, which is used for drilling holes for dowels. And these, this little jig has been really, really valuable to me over the years because we don't even need to line things up. You can just find the edge of where you're clamping this onto your material and make sure that it goes onto the edge of the material the same way every single time and just drill through here for your dowel locations. Again, a couple of bucks on Facebook Marketplace and just a wonderful thing to pick up. If you're looking for scribing, how do you scribe a filler to the side of a wall when you're putting a cabinet in? Jump onto the FastCap website. FastCap in the States has got this amazing arrangement of tools for a cabinet industry, better than any other place I've ever seen. And one of these scribing devices from FastCap has been, over the years, as you can see, it's been through the wars a little bit. I've had this for probably 20 years, this very simple scribing device. Before this, we used to use the compass that worked pretty well, but this device here for scribing a cabinet to the wall has proven to be, such a lifesaver because it's super accurate, but it's also got little steps here. So if you wanted to use this when running along the edge of something for marking something out, you could do that as well. And there is a newer version of this on FastCap that will actually allow this head to pivot to give you just a little bit more usefulness.
Paper! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
And the last but not least, the pizza resistance of my jigs. I was scouring Facebook Marketplace the other day, as you do, and this beautiful Lee dovetail jig popped up. Am I making dovetail drawer boxes or drawers right now? Probably not. But I know that this jig right here is going to be a super valuable thing for me to hang on to, because at some point I'm going to make a box of some kind, and I'm going to want to put some dovetails in the joints to put that box together. It's quite an expensive thing to purchase new. This was 50 bucks off of Facebook Marketplace. And of course, as soon as I saw this, contacted the person right away, ran down there, slapped 50 bucks in his hand, and took this beautiful device off his hands and brought it home. It needs a little bit of cleaning up, but of course, this is going to be a fantastic tool, great addition to my shop. And it's just ready to go, right? This setup here, if any of you are aware of the dovetail jig system, it's a sort of set it up once, as long as you're using the same thickness material over and over again, set up a couple of routers, and you got your pins and your dovetails ready to go. So this conversation really is about getting you thinking about jigs, whether you're in an advanced setup or whether you're not. Measuring things out with a piece of paper, with a pencil and a tape measure over and over and over again doesn't make sense. Take some time, make a jig when you need to, buy a jig when you need to, get these things that can save you time, and your accuracy will go up. Your frustration will go down because you won't be having to reach into things and measure things, and it'll just be an overall better experience. But like I say, a lot of times I see people hesitating because you think it's going to take time away from production to either go out and purchase one of these things or even make a simple jig. Keep in mind that time spent making this thing is going to be time saved in multiples when you start using the jig. So I'd love to get some feedback from anyone. If you're watching this and you can relate to any of these jigs that I've got put together here, whether it's a put the hardware on the door type of jig that you might buy from your hardware shop, or whether it's a jig that you'd make, or this fancy thing that you find on Facebook Marketplace, I'd love to open up a dialogue. What have you got for your jigs? What are the things that you're making? Send us a comment. If you're looking at this on YouTube, put a comment in the box. Let us know what your jigs are. I'd love to hear some ideas around jigs or mechanisms you've made in your factory that have saved you time. And let's start a dialogue around this. Let's share some ideas around jigs and mechanisms. For those of you that love the lean concept, you'll know that these things are commonly known as a polka yoke device, but we're trying to stay away from those catchphrasey sort of things. This is a jig. Show us your jig. Let's get into it. Let's see what you got. I've shown you mine. You show me yours. Let's see what you got for jigs. Dig out of your toolbox and show me something maybe you made when you were an apprentice or you've had kicking around in the shop for years. I'd love to see some of your ideas. That's it for me. That's Shop Talk. Nice light topic around jigs and simple devices that can help production and just getting things done easier. Hopefully you find this valuable, and let's start a discussion. Bruce from the Joinery Business Podcast. Peace out. Have a great day.
The Joinery Business Podcast is sponsored by MaxCut Software. MaxCut is a small software business focusing on the cabinetry industry. Their main purpose and goal is to empower cabinet makers to estimate, cut, and complete cutless jobs more efficiently and easily without breaking the bank. Visit the MaxCut Software website linked in our description to try the free community edition of MaxCut Software to see what MaxCut can do for you.